engagement team. I am sure you know Gina and Viola. So I'm the newcomer and I welcome you all here, not only the students and alumni, but also the interested prospects, and invite you all not only to connect and to network here, but to do it on LinkedIn and on Connect, our platform, afterwards as well. Um, there will be breakout sessions to get to know each other better and discuss some strategies in a smaller setting. But before, we are all waiting for networking advice from our networking queen Adela, and I can hardly imagine that she has ever been shy and awkward when trying to get in touch with other people or trying to get her message across. I can't imagine that, and I'm really curious about this. Um, at the same time, I want to remind you that we have other networking possibilities. We're going to have the CEO of Novartis going to give a speech to our Female Leaders Network on March 8th with a power breakfast. And in April, we will hold our virtual career days. Everything is virtual, but everything is valuable. So make sure and be seen there as well. And now I'm so excited about Adela.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you everyone for joining tonight. It is my pleasure to come back again and again, and thank you all for joining and listening me over and over, over and over again. Yes, as you said, you know, I would say it's in a family, so it's in the genes. Genes. I can why I'm not shy and I'm very talkative, so I can thank that's thankfully to my parents, especially my father, who is always as well now surrounded by people. And as I was growing up, I was there were always something happening around in our house, and all the celebrations and all the events and all the parties were happening at our place. And he's the one who that everyone knows him in this small community, small village in Bosnia and Herzegovina, where I come from. So since we are a larger group of people here tonight, so Viola and I have thought about what would be the best way to, you know, make this conversation, because it's not about me talking for an hour and a half. It's really about you who joined tonight and want to know, I'm sure, some specifics about networking, be it for your job search, or maybe you want to start your outside little project / mission, or you want to, I don't know, step up on LinkedIn maybe, and grow your community over there. So whatever it is, so we can I can answer those questions. And the best way to start with, as Viola and I discussed, was to create a little small breakout sessions. So you will go into breakout sessions. Yeah, that's a big surprise, and we love surprises. But that's why we are here, to network, where you can, you know, after that, come with one or two burning questions that you have that you would like me to answer tonight. So I can really steer the presentation and give you my insights that I have, and we can continue this conversation, hopefully, where you can, you know, unmute and share your advices and your views. So basically, I would like to have it more of a dialogue and less of me talking. And yeah, so because I could talk for days and days, but it really makes sense that we talk about specific topics that you want me to address tonight. Viola, what do you say?
Perfect. I'll send you all to these groups, and please switch on your cameras. I think that's fine for our connection. See you later. You have 8 minutes to discuss.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You are, let me see. Ferdinand, hi.
So basically it's the name of my son, yeah, because he was using the computer, yeah, and
Yeah.
I wasn't able to change the settings, so I'm Martin, yeah.
Okay. Nice to have you here. But did you leave the group? Was it per purpose?
No.
Ah, okay.
But
Somehow
I
it
think
didn't work.
I ended up here, yeah, with some other guys.
I will
Or
send
maybe.
you to another one. Same to you. And Christoph, I will send you to the
People from the breakout rooms to share this 1 or 2 questions that you have. So who wants to start? Please don't be shy, otherwise this networking is going down.
I will start because I have I'm now exceeding myself, you know.
Hi May, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice seeing you too. My question was actually related if you have any tips for introverted people who are really not like you, who run right into the crowds and are very comfortable with networking. Mm-hmm. What are the tips for introverted people?
Okay, I'm writing it down, so we will get to that ASAP. So I suppose we should have at least 5 or 6 more questions from the audience. Damir, who was in your group?
Klaus was there.
Klaus
you're the same group.
Yeah, Florian and Daniel, they had a couple of interesting questions.
I can continue with a question of our group. It
Perfect.
was related to the downturn of economic areas and many people being now looking on job search. But networking is difficult if you can't go to networking events. So it's much more difficult. So how is the best approach for that situation?
Okay.
40% of job applications or jobs are not on job portals. You find them or even more in the network.
Mm-hmm. Great question. Who's next? Okay, we had the question from our group as well. Mm-hmm.
Christoph here.
Hi, Christoph.
We had one point where we were wondering if you have some tips how to organize your contacts. You know that, do you, I don't know, make Excel lists or, you know that somehow you know in a few years also how to relate to these people, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Next.
And maybe another question from the same group.
Okay.
We discussed how to maintain your network and your contacts, how often you should get in contact with them, what would be too much, what are your experiences and your hints for this group?
Okay, great. Next.
Our questions were a little bit ethical because they had to do with the issue of trust. First of all, that building trust is not as easy virtually as it is when you're meeting people in real life. And then also that if you are a great networker, you always have to maintain the balance between too much and between give and take.
Okay.
And then the same things as before, the database and the getting back to your network.
Following up. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can say we discussed in our group that getting a contact is one thing, maintaining it, keeping it active is something else. So not to have a passive contact, but to have an active, engaging contact. Any tips for that?
Okay. So we have a few questions. If no one else wants to share, then we can start. Okay, good. The very first question, the classic one, comes every single time. It's introverted versus extroverted. So I'm still crafting the right answer, and that keeps me busy over the weekend. So what would be the best possible answer? But one thing I want to tell you about the networking, it's about quality and not the quantity. It is super important to realize that if you have 5 great, strong contacts in your network, or maybe let's start from the scratch. You all here in this group have a network. The question is just how are you using this network? So if as you said yourself, so how to maintain it, how to follow up, how to engage it, how to make it alive, that it's not just contacts in the book and you don't have any touch with it. So you all have a network. The difference between extroverts and introverts, from my opinion, is that for the introverts, I would advise to, especially nowadays, while everything is online, so it's easier, everything is very much limited, and it's easier to get out of the conversation. So imagine when you go to an event, and the event is for hours, and then you feel like, oh my God, it's too much. And for introverts, I would advise, set the limit and have the clear expectations when you go to the event. So that means if you go for like event today or event tomorrow that you're going to visit, so limit yourself and say, okay, I'm going there, I will stay for 1 hour and I will meet these 3 people. And then, the rest of the time I will, in a real setting, I will spend, with people that I already know and so on. So it's really about realizing, it's about not putting yourself under pressure, and saying I need to meet hundreds of people and I need to stay there all day, all night, and so on and so forth. So it's really about realizing your strengths and how much can you, spend time there. So it's really about meeting people in your own ways, I would say. So not to pressure yourself too much, but start slow. And that can be, through the meetups, smaller groups, smaller communities, and then you build up from there. So I would never advise an introvert to go for an event of thousands of people or 100,000 of people. That would crush you and you would not come back. So start small and then scale from there. Smaller groups, focused groups, and continue building on that. Keep in mind that network is about the quality. So if you can handle, follow-ups and, keeping in touch for 5, 10, 15 people, then that's perfectly fine. You don't have to have thousands or hundreds of thousands of people in your book if you cannot handle it and maintain it. That's super important for introvert. And if I may say that, I hope that at some point we will move away from this discussion, introvert and extrovert, because we are all great networkers. And none of us is 100% extrovert and 100% introverts. So we are all somewhere in the middle. And I learned a new term, ambivert. There's a lot of materials out there to that topic. So we have to kind of move away from that and realize that it's in our best interest and find the strategies, to build our network in a good way. So you have to have a strong network and not just the contact lists. And so that's about the introverted people. So start small, then build up from there. Try to, especially go to the communities that you prefer. So don't push yourself too way out of your comfort zone at the beginning. And nowadays for the introverts as well, so it's always about the breakout sessions. It's always an agenda. It's always a program. Upfront what's the topic, what is going to be discussed, who is going to be there, who are the people you want to meet, and so on and so forth. So it's already predefined, which helps a lot. And you can always, you usually stay in a breakout session 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then you're out. So kind of train yourself for this couple of minutes and have for instance, an elevator pitch or a few things, written down and prepared for yourself. The second question that we had was about the job search and networking events and online world, etc. So my experience, we had a very similar discussion in our group, and my experience is that nowadays it's even I get faster answers than I would get before the corona. I don't know if you have tried, but the world is very, very much different, at least on or at least the one where I live. So that people are responding way faster than they would before the Corona events. And they are ready even more to engage in to go for a call with you, to go for a Zoom call, so-called virtual coffees that we discussed in our group. And the other thing that I want to tell you about, the job search and in general about the network is it's a long-term process. So you cannot really push things in networking. So you cannot force relationship. You cannot force likability. It's about building up. So it's about you showing up for the other side as well, because before you start taking from the network, it's good to, start giving there as well. Super, super important. So you have to start somewhere and keep in mind that it will take a few months until you start noticing that they are really that you see the fruits of your work. So it maybe it will happen, with the first call, but it might take as well, if you're serious about it, if you're really committed to it, that it might take 3 months or maybe 2-3 months for you, and if you continue showing up to get the traction, get noticed, connect with people, connect with recruiters, especially nowadays during this online. So everything is online, then you can connect with them as well. I have a great book to recommend to people who are searching a job. It's called 20 Minutes Networking. It's written by recruiters. So who have, I think it's 2 of them, I think they have cumulatively 20 plus, 30 plus years of experience. And they wrote a book specifically on a job search and when you talk to recruiters. So super important with the job search is when you're looking for a job to be really, really prepared. So mentally prepared and have a strong pitch prepared as well. So when you get on call with them, because time is money. So when you get to call with them, you should have a very clear picture of what you want to achieve this and how do you want to steer this conversation. So my experience with nowadays is that it's really way, way, way easier to get people on a call, to connect with them. And of course, you have to have kind of strategy, you have to have kind of plan in the background. And if you don't have that, that's perfectly normal. I didn't have had that couple of, a few years back. And then I looked for, coaching. I looked for a mentor. And I had coaches and mentors in parallel until I really figure out and work with them for at least 6 months until I figured out, this is the job that I want to, that this is the job for me, or this is where I want to go. And then I approached, the recruiters and my network and told them, okay, this is what I'm looking after, and this is where I would like to be, in which industry, and so on and so forth. So then it's way, way easier if you are prepared for that. So there's a great book. You will get the slides later on. So there's a great book that I can really recommend. And there's as well a YouTube video that I did recently with one of my colleagues, Juliana. She's a remote coach, remote dream job coach, career coach, and we talked about how to land 3 jobs without even sending your CV, without even sending your resume and spending hardly any time on that. And the answer to that was the network. But the short story. So this was the short story. The long story is in that video. I can really recommend you to check it out. And I can as well recommend you to, see what Juliana is doing, because she has tons of materials on YouTube, free materials on, how to look for a job nowadays, and how to, utilize in a good way your network as well, tools such as LinkedIn. Because if you're not nowadays, if you guys are not on LinkedIn, and if you're not actively involved, so actively engaged there, and you're not looking for people in your community and recruiters and so on, it will be hard, because that's where the recruiters are, and this is where they're looking at. So at least you have to have a nice, decent LinkedIn profile with, important details about yourself, with the important keywords. And if you go to, her link, you can get all that, for free. There's tons of materials over there. So I hope that answers the questions. If not, then please post in the chat, and then I will come back to it again. Then we had like a few questions around organizing contacts. So maybe I'm not the best example for that. So I use LinkedIn. For instance, my approach is I use LinkedIn very much, and I message with people. So everyone I contact through the messages, and this is kind of a way how I keep in touch with my network. But when thinking about the network, it's always good to think about, you have the close circle, people that you are in, maybe in touch very often. So it's a closed network. That's not hundreds of people, that's maybe 5 to 10 people. And these people I have, for instance, on WhatsApp. So I'm really closer to this. Then you have the second circle. So these are the people that you get in touch maybe on a, let's say, monthly basis, 3 monthly, so, or something around that. And then you have all other contacts, all other people. Like on LinkedIn, I have 7,500 of people. Of course, I cannot get, in touch with each one of them one-on-one, and I don't have to. So this is my strategy towards networking. So it's important to, keep in touch with, the first and the second circle. And this is not more than, I don't know, 50 or hundreds of contacts. So those are really, close people, your support circle, people that your mentors, I don't know, colleagues, people that you want to stay in touch, and the rest is basically, our outer network. And I organize all of them through LinkedIn. So whenever I connect with new people, I try to use LinkedIn messaging as much as possible. And so that means I will write something there. And what with the message means, it saves basically the last time when you talked. So maybe it was in 2018, we talked about whatever, we met at the event in Barcelona, and now we are connecting, and let's keep in touch. And maybe I will need this person 2 years later. So I'm not kind of person that pushes or forces kind of conversation, so that I have to talk to every single person in my network. No, it's depending really on where I'm at the moment and what my goal is. So I look through the network and say, okay, there are like these 50 people or 100 people that I want to keep in touch. Everyone else is a different story. So I will post different content on LinkedIn, and then we kind of stay in touch that way. But I'm not, messaging every single day to everyone in my community to keep in touch. So this is not my approach. And what I read a lot about the topic, and like one of the books is from Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. It's a very American approach, so you can look it up. That book is pretty cool, and where he talks as well about the way he organizes his network, and his friends, the way they organize their network, who have like really big, strong. Wahid, can you mute? Okay, great. Yes, so different approach. So I use very much LinkedIn messaging. So this is my short answer to that question. Probably some other people have different views. It can be done, of course, through the Excel files. That's super simple. Or you can organize your contacts through different apps that you have. Basically, like saving all the contacts cards in these different apps. I think business card app and so on and so forth. So different approaches. I don't have the ultimate answer to that. For me, LinkedIn messaging works pretty well. And I don't stress myself out if I haven't talked to one or the other person in my network for 6 months or 1 year. So I'm not kind of person that has to chat with every single one. I know that when the time comes that we will talk, and this is what comes often in my case, and that's one thing that I want to tell you is through the LinkedIn content. So where you post about what you're doing, so what are you working on, what are your projects, ideas, and so on, and people keep reading that. And just recently, I talked to Patricia, who works for, who is in Germany. So for instance, we met in 2017 at the Web Summit in Lisbon. We connected on LinkedIn, and that's where it stayed. Basically, we said, okay, yeah, we had a nice chat over there in Lisbon, and we connected on LinkedIn, and we left it there. A month ago, she calls me, and because she was following my work, a little bit of what I was doing to 2020 through Mission Impacting 1,000 Women. So she calls me and say, look, I'm organizing a workshop on the 8th of March for International Women's Day for our community. We are building up a completely new community within our enterprise. It's a huge enterprise, over 250,000 employees worldwide. Anyhow, and for Germany, they are building up their first female community network, and they would like me to come and deliver a speech. So this is how my network how my network is organized. So I keep them always up to date, and with people that are that I need for the current projects that I'm working on. So I keep, of course, in touch regularly. And then when it doesn't make sense to bother people, because it's not about, I don't want to bother people. Say every 3 months I will send this typical message, hi, how are you doing? Hi, how are you doing? No, if there's something that pops up on my side and say, okay, look, I need to write to Michael because this is his topic, or this is his event, or this is the article that I found, or I just sent simple thing that you can do as well. Everyone has a birthday once a year, so use that time wisely and send people a nice message. Connect with your network and see where you are. And that's for me as well sometimes an eye-opener, like, oh, I haven't talked to this person for a very long time, or I found a nice picture of this person. When we talked, I found a nice picture when we, met had an event 3 years ago. I sent it, we remind ourselves of those times. So be creative. So there are no rules, but most importantly, it's about, not to overwhelm yourself and your network. There's no point in just, pinging for the sake of pinging. Have a reason. Let's say have a reason to ping people. And keep it organized, either through LinkedIn messaging, through these various apps where you can save all these business cards that you have, or through Excel. One thing that we discussed as well while we are here in our chat, so in my group during the breakout session, was about the virtual coffee. So it was nowadays, so we are all stuck at home, no matter where in the world. And of course, we want to, keep our career going, we want to keep our life going, we want to still feel like normal, like human beings, and we need this contact. And I started recently organizing kind of virtual coffees. So this is what I do, and I've been posting a lot about that through LinkedIn as well. So basically, for me, it means I meet at least 2 new people from my LinkedIn network every week. That means every virtual coffee is max 30 minutes. So it's usually, on my side, it's usually 8:30 to 9 or 9 to 9:30, or exception can be made for lunch, so depending where you are. And so how does it fit your schedule? So I invite people to join me for a coffee. So the agenda would be, nowadays, usually people, as I said, come to me very often with a specific agenda, saying they want to, move to Austria. They want to they're looking for a job in Vienna. They want to do an MBA at the Veo Executive Academy, or they want to start their own community. So like Female Leaders Network that we have started at the Veo Executive Academy, and they would like to talk to me about this specific yeah, so how we did it, or they want to talk about technology, or they think that we have business interest on both sides. So I intentionally go in that, and for some of you it might seem like that's a lot of time. It takes time, and it does take time. And I want to tell you that building your network, it's a lifetime investment. And it's your capital and it's your assets that you can take wherever you go. So it's not related to my employer. It's not related to a current position that I'm working. It's not related to where I was. It's related as well where I'm going. And if there's one thing, so we all have 24 hours. I'm betting. So my investment, I'm betting on my network and being of service, serving the community, giving back. And so this is kind of my philosophy in life. So about the virtual coffees and how I do it, how I prepare, and how to lead the conversation and follow up, there will be a checklist. So I have my networking checklist, and there will be a follow-up email by the Veo Executive Academy. So you will get the link, you can download it, you can go through it, you can start basically implementing it on your side. And give it a try. So it will not happen from one day to another. So it will definitely take time. But if you're ready to commit, and hopefully you have a little bit of fun in it, you enjoy it a little bit, meeting new people across the world. For me, that's excitement. Maybe for some people it's a burden. But I would like to invite you, maybe challenge you a little bit to start thinking in that direction. That it's worth investing 1 hour a week in your future. And then when you need it, then it will be there. So then when you want to change, move from one job to another, then I call a couple of people. We have a coffee, or we have a lunch, or we go for a dinner, and then I can discuss about opportunities that they have in their company. So I think it's worth investing 1 hour a week, or 1 or 1.5, if you want to nicely follow up or connect them with other people in your network, because that's really cool to do, to give. And so if you are ready to invest, then your life is going to be very, very different. And you will not think about the recruiters. You will not think about Stepstone website, Monster website, LinkedIn website of jobs posting. That you will have opportunities coming your way. So you choose. It's a very simple to choose from. And I think 1 hour less on Netflix will be a worthwhile investment in your life. So how to maintain? So I think we talked about maintaining your relationship. I say I have a very close circle, and a little bit. So the circle 1 and circle 2, that I really keep an eye on it. And some of the people that we chat for weekly or bi-weekly are here in this room. So because there's so much happening, and you want to tell them what the projects that you're working on. If they want to share projects that you're working on, or they want to start something, or think you have someone to connect them with. So that's the way to maintain. For me, I honestly keep lots of these things in my head. So, but that's just my way of doing things at the moment. I don't have a better solution, but I keep lots of information stored in my head, and use different apps, and have everything saved in my calendar. So all virtual coffees that I have planned for the next weeks, so they are all scheduled in my calendar. So there's a nice Calendly application, for instance. Maybe some of you know. So I bought the premium version. So now I have my link. I can, send it to anyone who wants to have a virtual coffee with me. So they find a spot for them. So they come in. We have a coffee. We close it there. Usually it follows up on LinkedIn, because as I said, I like to have everything in the messaging tool, so I can always go back to that. I can always remind myself what is that we discussed last time. And as well, one super important thing. So when you, for instance, have these virtual coffees, it's so important, especially at the beginning, when you don't know this person, you're building up the trust. It's very, very much important to follow up on what you have promised. So if during the call you have promised that like this other person asked you for a specific contact. Let's say today I talked to Abby, and Abby has her own business here in Vienna. And Abby says, look, I'm about I want to scale my business, but I don't know where to start from. Maybe you know someone who did something similar, or can you give me a contact? And I know Abby, so Abby and I did then we go back 2018. We did an interview for Making It in Austria YouTube channel. So I see that I can trust her. So I saw her a couple of times. I talked to her, and I'm open to invite her in my network. And then I thought, who would be the people that I could connect Abby to? So I don't want to leave her there. Like, okay, yeah, let's close this call and good luck with your scaling business. So then I connected her with few people from the Making It in Austria community who have done specifically that. So they scaled their businesses, or they have a very strong experience, so background in marketing and sales and building the companies. They've been executives for many, many years. So what I do in that case is, as well, again, LinkedIn message, because it saves everything over there, and I can always go back to that. So I do a simple introduction. So it's very important not to just connect people and not leave it hanging there. So it's like, hi, for instance, I will use an example today. Hi, Sam, I talked to Abby today. We had this interesting talk, and she's about to do this, this, and that. You're an expert, you're the sales wizard that I know. Can you, talk to Abby about it, have a call with her, and, help her with the first steps, or maybe point her in the right direction, and so on and so forth. So it's very, very important when you, especially for new people, when they need to get to know each other and go on a Zoom call or a virtual coffee, it's always recommended to make this introduction for them. So to create this environment like they already know each other. So you know them, one person, the second, always make this kind of follow-up, introduce one person to another, because that will be the opening line for them. Even if they are extroverts or introverts, you're basically doing that in the right way. And this is what everyone who's in the networking business will tell you. You need to make this connection, and especially as well about the trust, because that was as well one of the questions here. So if you have promised that you will do something, you have to do it. So if you said, I'm sending you this contact, I'm sending you this article, I will do this for you, I will do that for you during that call, during that first initial call, or the conference or event, whatever, please do so. I'm the one who really keeps an eye on that. So if someone has so if we have a call, we spend both of us half an hour, and if you have promised me that you will do something and I don't hear from you 3 months, then please don't expect that I will, rush when you need something from me. There's this, it's very, very important, because you're putting your name, you're putting yourself out there, and it's your brand, it's you, and this is something that will, follow you through your life, and this is how people will think about you, and that will be the question for them if they want to recommend you for the next job, or if they want to recommend you for this opportunity, or to someone else in their network, because based on that, what you said that you're going to do. So super, super important when building the trust. Okay. What else did we have? What's too much? What's too less? Okay, I think we talked about that. Following up, I said always, always, always have a follow-up. So for instance, if you go on a virtual coffee and you really like this person, and you're like, okay, we really clicked. Create the next follow-up in 3 months. It's just like before you wrap up, that 30 minutes virtual call, say, let's create the next follow-up. How about, I don't know, 15th of May? Okay, great. Let's put it in our calendar, and if something's comes in between, so be it. But if you have really clicked and you see that that you want to take this conversation and this relationship to the next level, just before you close up, create the follow-up call and send maybe a follow-up message on LinkedIn. These givers and takers, maybe some of you know it from Adam Grant. So he wrote this book, Givers and Takers, and it can be so in a corporate environment, but it can be applied very much in the networking sense as well. So I honestly not always keep a track, keep a score. So networking is not about keeping the score. Okay, I gave you 3 contacts, and now I expect you to give me 3 contacts, or maybe even 4, because mine was more valuable than yours. No, it doesn't work like that. It really doesn't work like that. That's why it's important to who you let in, kind of in your network, who you spend time with, who are you ready to build up the relationship, and and what he says in his book, I think is pretty cool. Is like, if it takes me 5 minutes, then I'll do it. I will not think about it. And these 5 minutes can mean exactly what we discussed with the follow-ups, in a way that when I say, okay, yeah, you're doing this thing, you're building that community, you're in Graz. Okay, I know Denise. Denise in Graz, she built up the community. She's really outspoken person. I think I think I should connect you to. And the vice versa as well. So that happens in this kind of 5 minutes where I don't think about, okay, am I going to do it or am I not going to do it? If it's going to take like me, I don't know, half an hour or 1 hour, then I need to schedule time aside for that, because you have business to run. And I really don't keep score. But as I told you, if you have promised me something and I don't hear from you, then it means in the future that you're not on my priority, and that's simple as that. It's not personal. It's just their priority in life, and then of course people who continue showing up, then they are on your priority list. And people who just come when they need something and just like super fast, and they think that, yeah, I will take a couple of your contacts and that's so great. And you can feel the intuition is very, very much important here. Who are the people who are just, taking for you. And then just when they need you, they suddenly pop up and they're like, yeah, great, let's have a coffee next week. I have time. Well, maybe I have, maybe I don't. So it's really about, it's so important to, take care of your network, take care of good people who are really, who are there with their mind, soul, heart, and not just about exploiting and making the benefits for themselves. What else? I think we mostly covered most of it, at least what I was able to write it here. And yeah, so maybe there are some follow-up questions, guys, that you want to ask me, or maybe I haven't answered some of them. Please let me know, because I don't want to leave you with open questions.
I have one question. You mentioned very well, actually, that you track everything in your head. What makes networking for me the most difficult is that I'm a person who always keeps her word. And if somebody comes to me and says, do you know somebody? Even if I don't have anybody in my head, then for me it becomes a task. I need to go through my network and see, maybe I know, immediately. Let's say you come to me and say, like, do you know somebody in gaming industry? And I'm like, it doesn't come immediately, but I take it then immediately as a task. It's my commitment. I will do it, even if I don't give you a word, I feel that, I need to do it, because that's the kind of person who I am. And then at some point, I feel so overwhelmed because I don't have time to do anything else anymore than only to help the people who have asked me for something. How do you manage this? How do you balance this?
And May, that's an excellent point. And it's perfectly fine to say, I don't have time. It's perfectly fine to say, and I get that as well from other people, where I say, okay, I cannot look into that today or this week because I'm focusing on something. I can look into that next week. It's perfectly fine. So I have people who immediately read their messages, and that's why I was saying through LinkedIn. So I steer everything, all of my conversation through LinkedIn, because I don't want to be, checking my emails, then, my Instagram account, then there's something on Facebook, and then I'm the one who's doing the work, just organizing that. So that's why I steer all the conversation to LinkedIn. And I sometimes, when I open the message, if I see I can answer it right away, I answer it. If not, I leave it, unread. So I didn't read it, so I leave it there, or I say I will come back to you. but it really is also about, about the priorities. As I told you, some people who are really close and in a closer circle to me, so they get, my attention, and others can as well, wait for 1 week or, 10 days. It's training of ourselves, because if you're a giver, and then some people are just like, yeah, let's check with you. So it's super important that you start from yourself and say, look, I know people who say only on Friday. So on Fridays I log in, on LinkedIn or whatever tool you're using, and on Friday I answer everything. And that's it. I close it there. And the next Friday from, 4 in the afternoon or 9 till 10, whatever works for you. And that specific time I go there and I answer it. And that's it, and then the rest of the time you basically, you maintain, you keep doing your business, because at the end of the day, it's not about, it's a long-term investment. It's not about you giving yourself now 100% and then disappearing for 10 months because it's too much. So maybe some of these things, organizing your time and just saying, okay, once a week or twice a week, I go in, I answer all my messages, and in the meantime, I keep my eye on something else. Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
So my question in the sudden, how much you need to get your profile done before you adding new people, and how much the profile itself is important. You mentioned it's good if you have a decent LinkedIn profile, and what does it mean? How much how much preparation does it need, or what's the very important jobs or education you should definitely put in?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question. And one thing that from people who don't have a picture, I don't accept the LinkedIn invites, for instance. Please have a decent picture, at least, that people, and your full name, and background picture if you want. It's a great opportunity to use it to say send some message into the world, apart from your picture. So your full name, with the title, if you want, if you have an MBA, so then you put an MBA. Then of course I would like to see where do you work and which position do you have, and especially what it would be good to have, which responsibilities do you hold there. So it can be three things that you want to emphasize for each positions that you have hold in the last years, your education, where did you go to school, and your kind of interests. And this is very basic. When you set up your LinkedIn profile, there's a basic, this super basic. I did it 10 years ago, so I forgot most of it. But the most important is you have your name, full name. Not like people, they have A.B. What is that? Where are you coming from? Why are you sending me your question? And no picture, nothing. Then people think, okay, this is a troll, or what is this? To have at least, when your full name, your company, your picture, your where you have been, your education, and then you build it from there. So there will be as well in this YouTube link that I told you. Let me share your nice profile with you while we are here. She's a good friend of mine, Juliana. So you can as well, scroll through her profile, how she did it. This is, of course, full blown. You can put, of course, the testimonials. It's super cool if you can ask someone, that your work colleague in the past, or someone that you're working now, or you worked on, I don't know, you have some community that you're part of it. You ask someone to write few recommendations for you. So to have a few, these testimonials, proof, you can always ask your colleagues, you can always ask some people. So, but this is the full blown, LinkedIn profile. And what's cool as well to have is this about me section. So this is the, what you see up there. So there should be something about you, and not like what I see sometimes, he didn't post it, or she posted, last activity was 90 days ago. So this is something what pops up for me for a LinkedIn profile. Then for me, it's like a question: is he or she using this profile or not? Or should I write a message? Should we connect or not? So about me is super important, and there you can write, Juliana has a nice overview the way she wrote it, but you can write at least a couple of things. Okay, I'm interested in whatever, digital transformation, community building, and so on and so forth. So it's super good to have that as well. So people can check your profile and then immediately get the idea. This is who you are. This is where you work. This is where what are your interests, and as well how to get in touch with you, be it on here on LinkedIn, or if you don't read your LinkedIn message, maybe it's your email and so on. So really keep it kind of active so that it doesn't look like you're not there ever. And the question, then there's a question for people, should I contact him or not? Yeah, and check this profile as well. It has lots of good insights for all of you. You can just check it out if you like.
Thank you.
And maybe just to mention that regularly we have LinkedIn sessions here in our community together with Sandra, yes. And she provides us really cool insights about the LinkedIn algorithm in general. Mm-hmm. So basically you need to be very careful how you place some of the things on your profile, because that has an influence on the algorithm when somebody either searches you or when the recruiters are trying to find you for a reason, right? For a new job opportunity and so on. So mm-hmm. Bear in mind that and try to keep it really up to date with the relevant details, as it might help you in your job search or networking as well, as it's very close connected. And it basically presents your digital image that most of the people see for the first time like that. So yes. I would strongly advise you to look at that in more details like Adela mentioned.
Yes, you should do that, and it's good as well if you just Google yourself. If you haven't done that, just Google. Let's see what pops up, and usually LinkedIn profile is the first thing that pops up. So after this, you can just type your name and go there and see if you're happy with what people find as the first thing when they search for you. Good. Very nice. Viola, shall we go into another breakout session, short one, and then we come back for the closing questions and closing words?
Yeah, that would be a nice idea. Maybe people have some more questions afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everyone is ready. I give you another 8 minutes. So everyone is back. Adela, you're still muted.
Sorry. So I'm back. Maybe to since we had a really interesting discussion here in my room, it was about posting the content, your own content on LinkedIn. And maybe just to as well share with you all. As I was saying to Seban, it's around 1%. So don't take me for the for the statistics, but around 1% of LinkedIn users are posting their own content. So think about the opportunities, what you have if you decide, to start at least with one post weekly on your own, and add to that at least 1 or 2 hours engaging with the community, looking for interesting people in your industry, or in your profession, in your hobby, or whatever, in your city, or some thoughtful leaders in your industry. Imagine what opportunities you have there, and I'm saying that from my experience. It's not something like, out of the blue, but it really is like that. And I've recently run the LinkedIn Content Challenge with 7 people in February, and I had people who never posted on LinkedIn. One of them, I think I posted today, one of them said that she would rather walk on a glass than post her own LinkedIn content. imagine, so what, people that we met in the group together, of course, with the group, we work in a group, we managed, turned around and have them posting their first content. And in most of the cases, so actually in all of these cases, it's not about that you don't have what to post. So most of the people came to these sessions with, links and ideas and tons of content prepared. It's the first part that we address in that challenge. It's about the mindset, where people think, why should I now post about it? Simon Sinek said everything that is about, leadership, or Adam Grant or Sheryl Sandberg or all these, giants. Yeah. But your story is very much valuable for your community, for your personal development, and for your journey. So, and there are people out there who really want to know more about it, who want to get to know you a little bit more professionally and as well a little bit privately. So, I would honestly invite you to give LinkedIn a chance and start creating the content, because that's how you make your profile. That's how you make yourself visible. You make your profile visible, and when people come to your profile, they have something to see. They have something to see. They see, okay, yeah, she's writing weekly about this, and people are engaging. She's engaging back, and that creates a picture, about you. Be it for the recruiters, be it for the people who you want to connect with, and they will come and check your profile and say, should I, what's the point? What's the point? So maybe I shouldn't, connect, and so on. And for you, it's a great, great, great opportunity, to use this platform. As I said, 700 million and plus worldwide, and 60 million in the DACH region. So there's just so much opportunity, and it doesn't take longer than 30 minutes, at least not in our challenge, to write your posts, your content, and start engaging with your community, because it's investment in your future, it's investment in your career, and you can always go back to that.
I fully agree with you, Adela. If I may just comment on that.
Yes.
I was one of these people who never posted, who never liked to post, and especially not about myself. Even though I've been running a publicly traded company, the most uncomfortable thing is always talking to the journalists and having to do all this part. And I started actually posting this year. I said, I'm going to do something new this year. I'm going to start posting, and I'm usually posting my own content, because I want to, I don't want to do just empty posts or, yes, nonsense. I really want to share. And what's really interesting, I started also seeing that if I post, I now also have Instagram, which I never had, because I never understood these things. I wanted to stay private and away. And what I see is whenever I share a personal content, it gets a lot more attention than when I share something else. And this for me is, of course, uncomfortable, because I don't want to share too much personal, but it works. Just as you said, it works. It really, this is what creates attention. As it turns out, people actually want to know about you, the people in your network.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you build trust as well, because we were talking about that too, especially, if you, as you yourself may, you've been in a corporate world, now you're running your own business. People want to know, who's behind that picture and the title. Do I really, do I want to work with you? So I want to get to know you a little bit. And it's, then you're the one who decides, it's about the integrity. So you are the one who decides if you want to post, private pictures, or you want to, there are different, you all know there's so much variety happening on LinkedIn. So, and at the end of the day, it should be something that when people read your post, for me, it's always like that. When people read your post and meet you in person, that should be the same person. It shouldn't be like, yeah, overly cheery person on LinkedIn and totally depressed person in real life. It's like, feel, oh my God. So there's no need to, to cheat and create the post for the clickbait. So just to get the attraction, but it's really, it's worth. And thank you, May, for sharing that. It's uncomfortable. You feel exposed. It's like, taking the pictures, like the photo shooting when you do it. It's like, oh my God, everybody's staring at me, and I don't know where I should look, and what people will say. But out of experience, you will get more positive, more positive feedback and engagement than negative, especially on LinkedIn. Why I talk about LinkedIn is because it's a business professional network. So even if people say like, wow, this totally doesn't make any sense what this person wrote, they will never write it. In 99% cases, it's not Facebook. It's not Facebook where people start talking about politics and whatever. So it's really, it's a great platform to use, and there's so many people who write about how to use it in the best way. But without the content, you can have the most beautiful LinkedIn profile. No one is going to find you.
Adela, in our group, there was raised another question by Klaus regarding the LinkedIn requests. How do you handle that? Do you only connect with people whom you know personally, or how do you do that?
I have over 7,500, so I don't know them. I don't
take
know
everyone. Or...
So I usually don't. So this is my strategy. So we had the same question in our group. So I don't. I just from time to time check the profile and see. Okay, you know, why shouldn't I connect with a person who is in a similar industry as I am? Maybe he or she in Vienna. You know. Interesting profile, good education. Why shouldn't I connect with this person? What is the worst case scenario that can happen? You know, this person can start, you know, sending me crazy messages, which happens usually from the male audience, I must say. But you know, you can have always the option to block, report, delete these contacts, and just, you know, continue with your own business. So I do accept, and I do from time to time check the profile of people who are sending me the invites, and in 99% of cases, it's a legit request. It's a person in my target audience. You know, it's a person that I want to be connected with, and I don't go. So I don't, you know, force it. I don't when I accept someone, it's not like immediately, yeah, who are you? What are you doing? Where are you going? Why did you contact me? And so on. I just, you know, if this person sends me a request, or if I see something interesting, or you know, we have interesting mutual content, then sometimes I make the first move and say like, oh yeah, welcome. Looking forward to reading from you, because that's why I'm talking about the content. People mostly engage with other people's content, and not, you know, all this kind of messaging and calls and Zooms and so on. I follow what people write, and then I get the chance to get to know this person. And if I feel like, okay, this is an interesting personality, this is an interesting person, she's doing some great, or he's doing some great things, I want to go and have a chat, or I want to have a coffee with this person, but I don't force it. So this is kind of my way of doing things. And as well, I know people who really, you know, they are very, very, very specific about who they accept to their network. So they have very specific target audience. They don't accept anyone else. And if they accept someone who they don't know, they immediately, you know, find a way to go for a chat, for a coffee, to get to know, just really, really, really very much, you know, have that strategy. But for me, this one seems to be working, and I gave you some of the example with people that I have been connected for years, haven't seen them, haven't heard from them, and then, you know, they found me through the content, and we just engaged and started talking about. So you can think about if you want to have really strict way of thinking of things, or if you say, okay, I allow a little bit of flexibility. What's the worst case? What's the worst thing that can happen? Maybe, you know, this person has an interesting point of view. Maybe she shares an interesting insights and content. Maybe I can get something out of it. And yeah, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So let me take some water.
Maybe just to add on the content that you were saying. So when you post something and you have a pretty normal round of network, and they start to like, share, or comment, all of the other people in their network see that. So you can use that as a marketing tool to promote yourself. And don't be surprised that even your first post can reach 1, 2, 3, 5,000 people that actually seen that on their wall and their feed. So don't underestimate the power of that kind of network and the information you share, which also means be careful what you don't post absolutely everything and garbage there, you know, but there is some opportunity community that you can leverage by posting proper content to the proper audience, and this could severely improve your chances of maybe the right people seeing you, get hired from a good company, and all the things that Adela was mentioning as well.
That's an interesting point, Damir. So in our last LinkedIn challenge, so I had one lady who's been working so far with Facebook, and she has Facebook ads. So she has someone who's doing that for her, and then she prepares the content, they push there, they prepare the ads, and she's been running that for like the last 3 months, 4 months. And then we met through the PWN, and she decided to join the LinkedIn challenge. And with her one post, so she has lots to say. So she is like in business for like 20 plus years and so on. And with one post that she created that week on her own, posted, she got more contacts, engagement, and views than a month of Facebook paid ads. So it says that, for her, it means, she will not abandon fully Facebook, but, she will have rethink completely the strategy for her, because and reuse the content from Facebook, some of them for LinkedIn, because definitely her audience, that's about it. So the audience, the target audience is there and not on Facebook. So. And it takes basically the same time, to prepare the content here and there, And the reason you heard from me from LinkedIn, I talk more about that platform, is I consciously decided that I will invest my time over there. So you will see some of my posts on Facebook. I keep, some of them there, or Instagram, some valuable content. But I always try, to see if that makes sense, because sharing just for the sake of sharing, it's not a strategy that I would recommend. And I craft the LinkedIn content on Instagram. I have a different content on a Facebook as well, just to keep my community informed, so where I am and what I'm doing, on which projects I'm working, and so on and so forth. But I intentionally put my efforts on LinkedIn, because I said this is basically where I have the most the best outreach, and my audience is there, and the opportunities, business opportunities, are coming from that side. Good. Nice. So closing words, Viola.
Yeah, everybody has a lot of homework to do. We have so much takeaways. Thank you very much. I guess most of the questions are covered, but still, if there's some more, I want to point out something. Another job search on LinkedIn session with Sandra Bichel from Career Angels will be in June. So June 24. So maybe it might be interesting for some of you. And yeah, but also I have to add this. we also have the community platform, We Connect. And it's great to, you can learn how to network there too in our next session on March 3. So it will be next week. It will be a lunch session. And we will explain there how you can network there. And it's so easy to connect with the people, because you have this, everybody has the MBA. So all these community